I found a note that could change everything tonight. The note is handwritten. I think it's my wife's. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not so sure at this point. I am an attentive man. I was born in a big household with 3 brothers. I was the only one among them who didn't get an education. My parents made sure of that, but I did not complain. Even though I had to work my way up, I was the one who got a prestigious career at a law firm. My brother Gerald contented himself with being a bookstore clerk, and my sister Sarah became a housewife. I am the one who rose above that. This is such an obvious fact. I can't fathom why anyone else would think so. When they ask me to stay at the office because we have a big case tomorrow, I pay my dues and stay until 10 to make sure everything's been reviewed properly. When my ailing father's not doing well, I'm the one who remembers to pay for his medicines. When my daughter Claire asks me for some money to play with her friends, I always have some change in hand. But if it is true, if I am so attentive, why does this note surprise me so? The ink looks fresh. In fact, I can tell you exactly from which pen this ink came from. It's my pen, the one I have right next to my laptop in the second floor study. It's the only one I never use, so it's the one with the most ink. The paper looks neat, so it's probably from one of the office sheets lying on that same study. But I still can't tell you if this is my wife's handwriting or a forgery, if this note is for real or not, nor what could have even led to this. I ponder this, sitting beside my car in the dead of night. It is 11 p.m., another late night at work. The partners made me stay up late again just so they could take credit, but it's okay. The house is dark. No sense of living light comes out from its tall windows. It's difficult for me to admit it, but I get a sense of dread whenever I enter the garage late at night. It feels as if the house's mouth is swallowing me whole, as if a shadow encroaches upon me. This is a weekly occurrence, but tonight is different. The darkness envelops me, but the dread has given way to panic. A cold sensation trickles down my spine, and my bones resonate with a short, spastic quiver. Within the dark, a spark of thought emerges, but it is not a comforting thought. If I can't decide if this note is real, then there is the possibility that my wife is still alive. Of course, Claire is off staying at her uncle's, so there's no risk of her being in danger. But what matters is, if my wife is all right, why is the house dark? Is she asleep? Who left the note then? Is there someone inside the house right now? Rancid, palpitating panic possesses me, and my feet take a mind of their own. In a daze, I open the side door and enter our kitchen. Nothing seems amiss, but I don't really want to look. I leave the kitchen and bolt to the living room. Once again, I don't really want to look. My focus is on the stairs leading upwards to the second floor. Taking the steps 2 at a time, I nearly trip on the way up. It's amazing how much our bodies abandon our minds at times like these. As I race for the study, it feels as if my thoughts have divorced themselves from a physical plane. I am my body, but my mind is also myself. The study doesn't seem ransacked nor invaded. Quickly, I turn on the desk light. I can't bear the dark, not anymore. Nothing seems amiss. Save, of course, for the pen, and the sheet of papers has been slightly moved. Someone did come in here and leave the note on the garage floor. Someone wanted me to find it because they knew I'd only check these 2 rooms today before going to bed. I remember the urban legend of the madman who licks a girl's toes when she goes to bed, and the brief flash of that type of imagery makes me sit down next to the desk. But there's another thought, worming and coiling itself around my brain. A madman wouldn't know so much about me unless they had been stalking me for days, and I am not that interesting a person. No one is as attentive as me. No, the only person who would know is Lily, my wife. My dear, sweet, and possibly dead wife. My lip shakes, and a small moan comes out involuntarily out of my mouth. This can't be happening. Not to me. Why would she do this? It can't be. I pull out my phone. I'm still in a daze, so my voice feels distant, like waves crashing against a faraway coast. Gerald, I need your help. My brother sounds as if I had just woken him up. He obviously gets the pleasure of being loved and going to sleep early. Gareth, it's past 11. What are you doing? Gerald, I think my wife just killed herself, and I need your help. Fuck. Please, can you just shut up and come here? What? What happened? I don't know. Someone left a note in the garage, and I'm here in the study. Take your keys and come here right now. Gerald takes his sweet time. He doesn't leave near me, so maybe I should cut him some slack. But the time gives me ample opportunity to think. I don't move from the study chair, no. I don't dare. But boy, do I think. Lily. She is my whole life. I met her over 20 years ago. I wasn't the most attractive man, nor the one with the most money. I simply promised her one thing, that I was going to be the one who took care of things. As long as she stuck with me, she wouldn't want for anything because I wasn't the type of person to give up. To my credit, I did keep that promise for a time. My breath fails me. I'm exhaling short gasps as I think of a long, decadent chain of failures. The time Lily had to drive alone to her mother's funeral because I chose work. She and Claire were inconsolable. That incorrigible weekend when she told me to pick up Claire from camp. But I got the dates wrong. I am an attentive man. How could I forget? The times I stayed up late at the office, but not because of work. I keep a separate cell phone to call Dana, but I'm not discreet. You tell yourself that keeping your phone in your nightstand is enough. That as long as you don't flaunt it in her face, your exquisite and long chain of infidelities are somehow forgiven. But it is wrong, it seems. Now a death has occurred, and the dead are not silent. There is a long, vertical line of darkness in the far left corner of the room. A simple misplacement of the light, of course. The way my desk lamp is settled, this small patch of shadow is inevitable. But isn't it appropriate? A disgusting long dark line that threatens to gorge itself on all that is around it. I hear rumblings coming from other rooms. The shadow grows. I don't know where my wife is. The shadow grows. Maybe, just maybe, her dead body is lying right next to me, her decaying face judging me without uttering a sound. The shadow grows. Of course, I am not attentive. If I had been, I would have already known what ill had befallen my family before getting this note. Gerald finally arrives. Somehow I am able to explain what is going on. I show him the note. He looks aghast. For a moment, I wonder what his own wife would think of me when she finds out. But why would she do this to you? He says. Perhaps, I respond, because she wants to punish me. She wants me to pay more attention. Gerald tries to hug me, but I back away. I don't even recognize his face at this point. I can't even recognize the room I am in right now. Come with me, he says. I'm sure she's fine. This isn't your fault. We'll look for her together. I know she isn't alive. We start out slowly. Gerald assures me he didn't see anything in the living room. I think it's too big of a house, and he might have missed her. He dismisses me, saying a body is too obvious to ignore. The way he says the word body makes me recoil. Is that what my wife is now? Just a body? Is it my fault? Leaving the study, we head for the game room. There's nothing there, just a pool table, a TV, and a PlayStation. Of course she wouldn't be here. Still holding the note in my hand, something tells me to go to Claire's room. The door's open, but there's nobody there. But that's exactly what I'm afraid of, that there's nobody here but us. No robber, no big reveal. Gerald, I managed to say after a while, let's cut the crap. Let's check the master bedroom. That's where Lily and I sleep. If she isn't there, nor in the kitchen, it'll be all right. Everything's fine. I am not being punished for not being attentive enough. I get a second chance. Please, let there be a second chance. We enter the master bedroom. Our bed, in the center, arranged perfectly. There's no one else. Everything is in its right place, just like I left it this morning, except for one thing. The door to the bathroom is closed. Gerald, can you? Sure. No, maybe don't. Let's call the police. Gar, shut up. It's fine. There's no one here. Please. No, Gerald, stop. I can't look as he opens the door. My eyes go in every other possible direction. But in the 3 seconds Gerald takes to open the door, I start to see things. Things that I hadn't noticed before. I am an attentive man, after all. The floor is wet. Not too wet, but it is wet. The drawer to my nightstand is open. The cell phone, the second cell phone, is gone. Oh my God, Gareth, don't look! Call the police! Gerald belts this out from the bathroom. I manage to see a pair of feet sticking out the frame of the bathroom's doorway. A pair of pale feet, and one of them has Lily's distinctive ankle mole. My stomach bile attempts to come out of my throat. Gerald was never the strongest one out of the two, but he manages to pull me away from the bedroom as I drench the floor in vomit. My sweet Lily. My eyes water, my mind races. There's nothing I can do to make this right. We stop moving until we reach the living room. Gerald attempts to say something. He mentions calling the authorities. He doesn't want me to move, but I'm simply pacing around until I'm resting against the kitchen table nearby. Gar, are you sure you knew what was going on with Lily? He asks. What the fuck kind of question is that? Gerald realizes his mistake. He pulls out his phone and leaves through the front door. He leaves it open just to make sure I'm not going to run up the stairs. Gerald, what did she look like? He doesn't answer. What did she look like? I yell. It's past midnight, but I don't care about the noise. Bad, she looked bad. She hit her head pretty bad against the floor. No, my Lily. Don't come up there, Gar. I don't want you to see her like that. She's all bloodied, naked, unrecognizable. Is that what you want me to say? Stay here while I call the cops. I turn away from him. I cry, but something sparks up inside my head. Another terrible thought. Why would she be naked? Why is the floor wet? Because she slipped. Why would she slip? The drawer. I start making connections. Lily takes a bath right before she goes to bed, always. Maybe. It can't be that. My wife killed herself because of me. This much is true. And if I have to overthink the details, maybe I should look closer at my actions, not hers. The cheating, the missed moments, the drained seconds I will never get back. Her face, her beautiful face, is something I will never get to see again, unless I go up the stairs and bring a worthwhile finality to it all. If I have the courage to see the bloodied, bulbous facade that used to be Lily, splattered over the white ceramic. But just picturing it in my head is enough. Her eyes are wide open, not quite looking at me, just stuck in perpetual horror. A purple amorphous mass covers her right cheek, born from the sudden impact. Hours from inattention have given way to the natural process of decomposition. Despite the gaping, wide expression her mouth has managed to convey, one can tell it's just the beginning of a much more dreadful transformation, one I cannot bear to look at. Looking at her face would be the end of me, but the thought begins again. Why is she in the bathroom? It doesn't matter, surely, but I try to focus on the process of analyzing the details again. Lily comes up to take a bath before bed. I remember how I usually like looking at her undress. She leaves the clothes underneath her pillow. She turns on the bathwater. Since she's careless, she usually lets it flow a bit while she undresses. What if she was doing this and Dana called? Dana left the office quite early. Maybe Dana called my cell phone, assuming I had brought it to the office with me. But I don't have it on me. I had left it in the drawer which is now empty. Oh no. Lily must have grabbed it and started looking at the messages, the pictures, the calls, and while she was looking, the water kept running. She slipped and hit her face. My wife is gone and it's all my fault. I need to lie down. I need to run away from this. I begin to move. Gar, where are you going? Don't you go up. You need to stay here. I pay him no mind, heading for the garage door. I'm going to ride my car. I need you to stay here, Gar. Please, for the love of God, just wait for the cops. You want me to call Claire for you? I'm in the garage already looking for the car keys. What do you mean? What did you tell her before you left? What do you mean, before I left? Claire isn't staying with me tonight. Of course she is. She told me she'd be staying with you tonight. Gerald, please. I don't have time for this right now, I say, almost crying at this point. Why can't he be a nurturing figure just this once? His voice comes in from the kitchen, very near me now. Gar, Claire stayed with me last week. I stay silent. He speaks again. Oh God, you forgot again, didn't you? I don't answer. Sweet mother of God, I'm gonna call her. I feel something slip out of my hand. It's the note. But I notice something new this time. There's something else written on the backside. It simply reads, "It's all your fault," in a very delicate handwriting. A familiar one, but it isn't Lily's, of course. She couldn't have written a note if she slipped in the bathroom. Then, a familiar ringtone erupts in the dead of night. The garage turns the sound into a cacophonic storm that assaults my ears. I recognize that tune, but it doesn't belong to me. I don't have to ask myself to whom it belongs to in order to know the answer. A flash of light, too small to notice during the day, but blindingly incandescent in the middle of the night. It's coming from the same phone emitting the ringtone. Gerald's calling Claire, and the tone is coming from this room, from the garage. My eyes follow the source. The light, it plays with the dark. There's another line of deep dark shadow that stretches itself out from a faraway corner. I can see an open toolbox with a bloody screwdriver lying on the ground. My eyes follow upwards to the tumultuous darkness. I stare at the darkness, and my daughter's dead eyes stare back at me.